play some licks. First, the chords that we're playing over this song. This is a 16-bar blues inspired by Robin Ford's Help the Poor. The chords that we're playing licks over here, first D minor. The song's in D minor. The next chord you'll hear is the A7. Then we go back to the D minor. Then we go up to the G7. And then to the B flat 7. You can play that just kind of the standard B flat 7 way. You can play like a bar chord. The way I'm playing it there, I'm playing it with the added 13th. So basically playing a B7, but I'm adding the 8th fret on the 2nd string up there. So that's how I'm getting to that. So those are the chords we're playing, all the licks I'm going to talk about today, and for parts 2 and 3 of this lesson coming soon are going to be played over those chords. So the first lick right here is played over the A7 chord. So let's break it down. It goes something like this. Now, what you'll notice if you're listening to the A7 chord alongside that lick, works really well over that chord, and the reason why is because the first 3 notes there, that's like 3/4 of the A7 chord. We got the major third. You can play the chord and you can see the notes sitting right in this chord, right? Here's our A7 chord. You can see the major third right there, the root right there, and then when I slide down here, that's the flat 7. So just in that first 3 notes of the chord, I'm playing 3/4 of the notes from an A7 chord, right? The root, the flat 7, and the major third. And then that next part of the lick, I'm actually bending up to the major third as well. So when you play all the notes to the chord in the lick, it's going to sound good over that chord, right? And that's what we have going on here, and that's the takeaway. The general rule here, soloing 101 is play the chord tones over the chord you're playing, right? So you hear that A7 chord, play all the chord tones. And that's the first lick. All right, so this is a pretty straight ahead D minor pentatonic lick played in this position down here. Although we do make our way up to the 10th fret on the first string. One little tidbit I'll throw in here is it's really good to learn licks that cover multiple positions. That really helps you learn the fretboard well, rather than learning licks that are just stuck inside one little box. Do something, you can play that same lick, but moving up the fretboard as opposed to staying within that scale pattern. So you could go. Whatever, similar lick, but the point is there, I'm moving up the fretboard and hitting the same notes rather than being locked in that one position. When you do that sort of thing, it helps you visualize how these scale patterns fit together much better than when you're stuck in this scale. It gives you a lot more freedom and flexibility. So one small takeaway here being that in this lick that I do make my way up to the next position. So let's play the lick really quick. We start off with a double stop. Really painting that D minor chord with the minor third in the root. Then we do this. That's the 10th fret on the first string. Then we're going to make our way back down to the root of D here. So really clearly starting the note on, ending that lick on the D note. It's gonna go really well over that D minor chord. And we're also hitting a lot of chord tones throughout. You know, the first note we're bending up to the fifth of D. We're hitting the minor third of the root in that first part of the lick. Getting our way up to the root of D in that part of the lick, and then coming back down to the root an octave lower. So really spelling that D7, D minor chord out really well. So that's the second lick. Okay, let's go through this last lick here. Just a lot of moving around in the this position of the D minor scale, D minor pentatonic scale. That's where we are. First part of the lick is this. Love that little lick. I love that 2-note lick going from the 10 on the first to the 10 on the second. Spice that up with your own style, however you feel. And then we're going to do a little descending down the pentatonic scale. So we go. Sounds really good for the D minor so far. So that's what we got so far. In the rest of this lick, we're doing some really basic stuff in the pentatonic scale. The important part is that we're landing on the D note. So we do all this really simple kind of bending, kind of stock blues lick stuff. But the point is you can kind of do whatever you want as long as you land on that D note at the end. That's what is going to make this lick sound like this and make it work really well over the D chord. So, you know, as with any of these licks, you don't need to learn, you know, every single note exactly, note by note. The important part is the notes that are being played over the chord and how those are relating to the chord. And, you know, as you move through the lick, you can kind of integrate your own little licks, your own little style. You're not locked into and playing these, you know, note by note. I would encourage you not to. But in any case, the last part of the lick goes like this. We got that right there. Just make sure you end on that D note. And that's it. That's the third lick. I'll play it pretty much note for note all the way through. Again, I'll kind of, you know, throw my own tweaks in. It's not going to sound exactly the way it does in the recording, but it goes a little something like this. And that's the lick.